People who did poorly in school. What are you doing now? Hi guys. Wanna test new format of the stories? Let me know if you liked it. I currently work for myself. I go to the homes of wealthy people and take care of small repairs and household tasks. Every house has something that needs fixing. For example, replacing a light bulb if the owners can't climb a ladder. Most of the time, it's simple and incredibly easy work. I was very lazy throughout my school years and, to some extent, I still am. But now I'm a teacher, and I try to help students who behave as I did. My situation was similar. Studying came easily, but I mostly got average grades. I knew English very well, but couldn't bring myself to study diligently. I deeply regret that there wasn't anyone to push me forward. Being the youngest child in the family, my parents didn't pay much attention to me. I now earn $60,000 a year, working only 7 months. I'm happy and can't wait for May to start working again. I plan my expenses in advance to avoid money problems, so it's not an issue. It's just that I often feel bored. I always did well on tests, but got poor grades because I had trouble focusing on things like homework. I got into college solely because I scored well on entrance exams, as my GPA was far below the required level. My inability to focus on studies turned into a lack of motivation to even get out of bed for classes. I dropped out and started doing physical labor, but I was fortunate to find a high-paying job. Later, my employer paid for my education and gave me a stipend. Since this education was work-related, and I was allotted time to study, it became much easier for me to focus. I hope to get into mechanical engineering when I finish my current course and transfer my grades. I believe being a mechanical engineer would be more interesting and a better fit for me. I think many people who consider themselves lazy or dumb simply haven't found what interests them yet. Helping students discover that should be the main goal of schools. I barely graduated from high school. I would attend the first class of the day, find out from friends where the evening party would be, and skip the rest. I remember begging my physical education teacher to give me a passing grade just to get enough credits for graduation. With great difficulty, I managed. Now, I work in education, helping at-risk students like I once was. I have a vocational education diploma, a bachelor's degree, 2 master's degrees, and soon I'll have a doctorate in psychology. It turns out I love learning, just not in school. I also work in education, and in my experience, teachers who connect best with at-risk students are often those who didn't like studying themselves. Kids can sense insincerity, and when they realize you've faced the same challenges they have, it makes a huge difference. My opinion on this is that career choice plays an important role, but some people genuinely enjoy things like reading books or taking care of children. That kind of work often goes unpaid, though I'd argue it's still work. I mean, caring for kids is definitely work. Some people enjoy working and achieve success in many fields, while others just don't have the same work ethic or health. I work in HVAC system repair and maintenance. Many specialists in this field possess not only physical strength, but also a certain level of intelligence. I'd say math becomes much easier when you see its practical application, and it stops being life's biggest challenge. I'm a software engineer. Don't get too excited though. I work with a college diploma, not a university degree. In Canada, college degrees are not highly regarded, so I'm chronically underpaid. Honestly, in Canada, almost everyone is underpaid. I have a master's degree and used to work at a prestigious research institution, earning $39,000 a year. It may seem like a lot until you factor in expenses like utilities, rent, food, and services. After all, this is Canada. Currently, I stock shelves in a store. It's a fairly well-paid job. I work when the store is closed. and there are no customers. Soon, I'm expecting a significant salary increase. I dropped out of high school due to unfortunate circumstances and struggled with math. My algebra teacher had inappropriate tendencies. I got a lot of CS in school and graduated college with several failing grades and a GPA below 3. It took years of full-time work combined with evening classes and preparation for medical college entrance exams. I was searching for myself and was lucky to work with supportive bosses and have a wife with incredible work ethic, a true role model. This year, I hope to start an internal medicine residency by July. I'm a scientist working in biomedical research. In my youth, I struggled with school, especially math. When I meet my former teachers now and tell them what I do, they look at me in disbelief. At some point, I realized that studying wasn't as hard as it seemed. You just have to start. A friend of mine is very smart but lacked motivation. I was his only, nerdy, friend who recognized his intelligence. His relatives suffered a life-changing injury, which inspired him to become a doctor in a related field. He succeeded, though it shocked everyone but me. Many people wrote funny things here, but I want to motivate others. I almost failed the second semester of 11th grade and all of 12th grade. 2 teachers told me not to bother applying to college, as I'd fail miserably. Instead, I joined the Coast Guard. Now, I have 2 higher education degrees in a field I find fascinating. My last assignment in the Coast Guard was in the White House Operations Center, handling emergencies. I had one of the highest security clearances and loved every minute of it. In my free time, I run a photography studio with my wife. Just because school or work is hard doesn't mean you're a failure in life. If you find something you love, pursue it, and don't listen to those who try to stop you. My friend's story. I was a terrible student, switched schools several times, and was often the worst in my class. Eventually, I earned a degree, though calling it higher education would be a stretch, as the university was mediocre. I pursued what I always loved, working on computers, designing websites, and later YouTube. That's how my 5 million subscriber channel, TellBlog, came to be. I'm not wildly successful, but I've done better than I could have expected. I could theoretically pursue what I love most, music. You can check out my tracks in the link provided. I graduated high school with a 1.97 GPA. I didn't study. The last subject I failed was ceramics. There were many reasons for my poor performance, which I won't dive into. I enrolled in a technical college, did fairly well, transferred to a university, and graduated 3 years later with a bachelor's in English. After graduation, I worked low-paying jobs, unable to secure one with real career growth. I moved to South Korea and taught English for 2 years. When I returned, I applied to over 200 jobs before landing 2 interviews and 2 offers. One job offered slightly above minimum wage, while the other started at $48,000 as an operations analyst. I took the latter, advanced quickly, and received several raises over 5 years until I became a department head. Then, I transitioned to another role with double the salary as a project manager. I was a poor student in both school and my first semester of college. Later, I started studying properly. Now, I'm an inspector in a district education office, leading a department with 42 direct reports. I love my job, and my team genuinely values me. People come to me for help, which brings me immense joy, something I never experienced in school. I was an average student, dropped out at 16, and had virtually no skills. At 25, I returned to education and became a lawyer. Today, I'm the general counsel for a multi-billion-dollar medical company. Along the way, I've lived in almost a dozen countries. At 20, I thought I'd miss my chance, but it was all worth it. I've been working in sales for over 10 years, and I'm pretty good at it, earning about $70,000 a year. In school, I aced all the tests but never did homework and often skipped classes. I barely graduated and didn't go to college. If you're a social person and can communicate effectively, sales might be a great fit for you, as long as you can handle rejection. For instance, if you've had legal troubles, you can easily start working in car sales. We hire everyone. I work 6 days a week, 9 to 10 hours a day, as a mail courier for the U.S. Postal Service. I'm desperately trying to provide for my family and create a future where I can eventually retire. Job satisfaction isn't even part of the discussion. I make $60,000 a year in a very affordable part of the U.S. I live in a 2,000 square foot home without any notable problems. I barely graduated high school, but in college, I was one of the best students. I started at a technical college, then transferred to a state college. Just get a diploma, even if it's a 2-year degree. Seriously, it makes a difference. Interestingly, my friends who graduated from 2-year colleges earn more than I do now. If your job aligns too closely with your passion, you may burn out. Instead, find a decent job with a good team you can get along with. I wasn't a bad student, just average. After school, I joined the Navy, which gave me the motivation I needed. When I left, I earned 2 red diplomas from college and now work as a network engineer for a telecommunications company. I've worked in various temporary roles, from law firms to warehouses, as a waitress, cleaner, hotel manager, bartender, and office manager. All these jobs came from connections and life experience, not formal education. I wasn't a terrible student, but I was far from brilliant. I dropped out of college and went to trade school. Now, I work in IT, married, and life is good. If you're still in school and struggling, don't assume that just because people on Reddit succeeded, you will too. Some people I know with similar problems never improved their lives. I dropped out of school and started my own business. My brother, a top student, works in medical research, and we earn the same income. A degree only matters if it's required for the job. I did well in school until I had a nervous breakdown at 12 due to severe abuse at home. By 15, I was so behind in schoolwork that I didn't care anymore. At 16, I dropped out, left home, and gained independence. I passed my GED easily and went to community college at 24 when I was healthy enough to study. I aimed for a psychology degree to help troubled kids, but had to stop due to a chronic illness. Now I'm on disability, raising a teenager, and doing freelance art to keep busy and earn some extra money. I gave birth at 16 and graduated as one of the bottom 10% of my class. I started as a welder, changed jobs often, and eventually became an engineer at a top company. I dropped out of school, became a CAD engineer earning $60 an hour, and climbed my way up from small-time jobs like computer repair and lawn care. I battled addiction, served in the military, and eventually found my footing in IT, moving into a stable career over 12 years. While doing this, I worked 50 hours a week in my primary job and took on part-time gigs in metalworking, auto repair, and other fields to stay afloat. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you enjoy this format of videos. Keep safe. Bye.